Hi, welcome to Trigger Warning. How are you guys doing? Thanks for joining us this evening. We've got quite a lot to talk about today. We've also got a guest coming on in just a couple of minutes. That's Sarah Phillamore, who is a family law barrister and also a member of We Are Fair Cop, which is a group of gender-critical lawyers, police officers, writers and professionals dedicated to upholding Articles 8 and 11. We will be coming to Sarah very shortly. Let's just say hello to who's in. We've got Mick the Painter. Hello, Last Dance. Good to see you, sir. Cup of Tea. Smoke Steve, who of course hosts the International Pub on a Saturday night. Should you like to do some drinking and streaming, do join him from 11 p.m. On this very channel. We've got Paul McCord. Hello, Paul. Ambience, Sally Ann Gannon Thrall. That's a name I'm pretty glad I got through. Thank you very much. Mr. Kill C1 and many more I'm sure I'll say hello to as we go on through the evening. I am, of course, joined by, as ever, Mr. Graham Booth, who's trying to find his shot. There he is.
I'm a bit small today. I don't know what's happened there.
You found it, though. I was watching the hunt there. That was very good.
There we go. Hello, Aidan.
How you doing, mate? You doing well?
I'm good. I'm very, very good, actually. Yeah. I'm happy. Schools are still open, so I'm getting just a smidge of privacy here and there.
My wife is working from home at the moment.
Oh, really?
She doesn't like it. A, she finds it hard to switch off, and B, she has a very different attitude to work than I do.
Yes, yeah.
Which hers involves being quiet and working. Mine involves muttering, stamping around the house, going in, out.
You'll scream at me for 40 minutes on the phone, and that is part of your working day.
That is part of certainly part of my day.
Yeah.
I don't know about my working day.
I'm just going to brainstorm some shit. I'll phone Graham.
Yeah, that's it.
What is it, Aidan? Oh, God, what's happening?
One of my sounding boards.
Did you see the Twitters? Did you see what's been going on, Graham?
I got suspended 3 times in one day. Yes. 3 times. One of them for the dictionary definition of a woman, and I did call the person bro, but that person has many male accounts. But then there was a couple of others that maybe were a bit on the edge. But 3 times in one day.
It's nice hearing the tweets that you were going to send but didn't. Do you want to?
Yeah, only you get to hear those.
Yeah.
On tonight's show, what we're mainly talking about is freedoms. And I can't even say creeping, the frantic stampede of moving towards an authoritarian state in a terrifying way. And we're so wrapped up in so many big deals, there's some we're not really hearing about. So I think on that note, before I start screaming and shouting and everything else, it'd be really cool if I plugged in my headphones and said hello to our guest. It's Sarah Phillamore. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, good, I can hear you as well. It's worked. I'm going to do a little dance of happiness. It's great to see you again, Sarah. Of course, you joined us once before when we hosted a debate between yourself and trans activist Ashley Ruth. I think that's right. I think that's right. So that was some time ago. Obviously, tonight, there's no need for you to take anyone else's feelings into consideration. So you can just go at it. Now, obviously, we've spoken online quite often since then. And there's a link below for anyone who wants a crowd justice link. And if you click on that, it's in the description. You'll be able to help Sarah what she's working on right now. And it is, in fact, and I'm going to ask you to explain it far better in just a moment, but that your permanent record can now include the most innocuous things as hate incidents. Fill us in.
Well, as you probably already know, Harry Miller's challenging the hate crimes guidance under Article 10, that has a chilling impact on his freedom of speech. That was knocked out at the first court hearing, but he's got an appeal date lined up in March. So that's bubbling away in the background. My challenge is different, however. My challenge is about data protection and Article 8 rights, because my lawyers have written a brilliant letter before action. They have said to Wiltshire, delete the recording about this woman, and they've said to the College of Policing, withdraw the guidance, do it by the 20th of November, or we'll see you in court. And that's because they say the hate crimes guidance, which was revised in October, but didn't actually improve, in fact, got worse, I think, is incompatible with data protection law and my Article 8 rights, because it's recorded things about my personal sensitive data, my political views. It's recorded them on a false basis, I say, as the result of a malicious allegation. It did that in secret without telling me, and it wants to keep that material for up to 6 years. All of those things, my lawyers say, I think really convincingly, are just unlawful. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, the other scandal that we're dealing with is the sheer prohibitive expense of actually bringing a legal action in our court system. It's abundantly clear to me that access to justice is now beyond the reach of the ordinary person, which is why crowdfunding is so great. I think I'm about £5,000 short of what I need to actually go to court and make the application for permission for judicial review. So if anybody has got a fiver, any spare change down the back of the sofa, please do think donating to this, or if you don't like me, donate it to one of the other many legal actions which are ongoing.
Could I just jump in there a little, because I think some people might not be entirely familiar, because what you've outlined there, some people might think, well, if it's hateful things, then they should be recorded. I'm not one of them, but some people might. But I think what's important, and we'll get into the greater situation soon, is the sort of things that are being recorded are available to people doing advanced sort of checks on you, aren't they? Security checks and such like. But one of the hateful, terrible, shocking things that you said that is now recorded alongside your name was that your dog might be a Methodist.
Oh, no, sorry. That's not Wiltshire. That's South Yorkshire.
Oh, that's South Yorkshire.
I'm looking up hate criminal status in every county in the country.
You're a bad woman.
I was so angry, I went to Twitter and I urged my followers to report me. And a very kind gentleman did. He reported a tweet where I said, I think my cat might be a Methodist. He likes dreamies. Now, he was asked in all seriousness to explain why this was a hateful tweet. And he said, and I quote, Miss Phillamore clearly is hateful towards Methodists. She implies that they are wandering pests who crap in people's gardens. Now, South Yorkshire, with a straight face, have recorded me as a hate incident. Now, it's all very humorous, but remember why the police tell us they need to do this. They need to do this, they say, to stop people murdering black people, to stop the death of another Stephen Lawrence, because the people they're recording are so hateful and so dangerous, they need to keep an eye on us. So I have submitted a subject access request to South Yorks, and I want to know what crime they think I'm at risk of escalating to. Are they going to deploy extra armed officers to guard Methodist chapels should I come to visit that lovely part of the country post-lockdown? Just what the bloody hell are they playing at? Because see, this is a really interesting thing, isn't it? Look at me, middle-aged, left-leaning woman, pillar of society. I pay my taxes, I pick up my rubbish. I'm now angry, distrustful, and afraid of my own police force. So whatever the noble motives behind the hate crimes guidance, it's, shall we say, not perhaps having the desired effect.
See, I had to laugh before, because if I don't laugh, what I end up doing on this show is screaming. To me, I mean, obviously there's this patent ridiculous aspect. You've been accused of being a Nazi, just a terrible bigot, a TERF, obviously a TERF, a shocking TERF, and all these things. But what alarms me, to be called those things on Twitter, it means nothing. The sort of people that we bump into, the trans activists, who I hasten to add, are very rarely transsexuals. The trans activists, they come straight in, they attack your looks, they tell you you're ugly. I mean, why would they? I mean, I know you get it, I get it. Why they tell a 48-year-old married man about his looks? I've got a mirror. I'm so far past worrying about that sort of thing. But also, have you noticed they never say that you're fat? It's because they're terrified. They're terrified of being called out for fat shaming. That's what it is. They are actually terrified, because I've noticed that's one thing they rarely give me grief about. They tend to stick to the beard or the bald head because they're sensitive. They're sensitive. They've all got Asperger's according to their profiles. But what alarms me, on Twitter, you know yourself, it's just words. It rolls off. You give it back. It means nothing. But I believe a lot of this is being driven by these people reporting en masse. Now they've got a way to reach into your personal life and teach you a lesson for not actually being as authoritarian and Stasi-like as them. And we see this day in, day out. I know the people that are reporting you are not people that are concerned about your hate. They're just people that need you to shut up. Mm-hmm. And that's what this is. This is why we all need to be aware of it. That's why I urge everyone, if you can't donate, please just share the link. Share the link on your social profiles. Because what we're fighting here is not just the police making a ridiculous, utterly ridiculous decision. It's the fact that it's been weaponized.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, even if I don't get the money to go to court, even if I go to court and lose, it is worth it for conversations like this. Comments on my crowdfunder are along the lines of, I didn't know this was happening, or I can't put my name because somebody from work might read it. I mean, those are two really stunningly worrying comments to read in a supposed healthy, secular democracy in 2020, that people are either oblivious to what's being done under their nose or too afraid to talk about it. So I absolutely agree with what you say. The person who reported me to Wiltshire went through my tweets from 2017. They used advanced search. It's so obvious because the screenshots I've been sent. Oh, and by the way, if anyone wants to see the screenshots, because remember, I've been accused of religiously aggravated and transphobic hate. So if anyone's worried about that, Fair Cop have just put my case study up on their website, and you'll find there a link to the 12 pages of tweets that Wiltshire sent to me. So don't take my word for it. Go and read them. If you can find anything that makes you think I'm anti-Semitic or transphobic, let me know, because I don't think I am, and I'd be intrigued. And now I've lost the point I was making because I rambled on about something else. But anyway, people have got to talk about this. They've got to know, and they've got to be willing to stand up, because this is happening now.
We do see this across the board, and what things is easy for people to do right now is if they perhaps don't agree with your politics, they'll say, well, tough. The way we said tough about Count Dankula, who did nothing wrong apart from a crap joke. The man can't get a job. He can't have a job. They put, every time he gets one, they hound him out. Lawrence Fox, obviously massive Nazi, because we know that actors, mainstream actors, are often tremendously far right leaning. Just been dropped by his agent, I believe, today. We're seeing lives being turned upside down to protect people who, in my experience, are tremendously abusive, disingenuous, and dangerous.
Yeah.
And since I started being more vocal on Twitter and spoke to you, spoke to Graham Linehan and Dr. M and some of the others, I've been exposed to levels of deviousness and hatred that I've not seen. And I've been with some dark websites over the years. I see the abuse you get day in, day out. I get a little less because I'm a man. We do tend to get less, unless you're Graham Linehan, in which case you just get pilloried. But we are in a very, very dangerous place. And I truly, genuinely believe what you guys at We Are Fair Cop and you yourself are doing is hugely important. Anyone reading through it, set aside your politics. Not that politics have pretty much anything to do with any of the tweets that were reported. But don't look at that. Look at what's happening. Because if they can go after Sarah, fortunately, Sarah's someone with some reach, is a barrister herself, but we see so many people who are terrified, literally terrified, and don't have this. Sorry, Graham, yes.
We've had a few people in the comments ask for clarification on this in terms of DBS checks and going for work. If you could just sort of make it, we've had quite a lot of questions in that, like, is this going to come up on a DBS if you've been reported, etc.?
Yeah. Right. Well, I'm afraid the bad news is I can't give you a clear answer. I asked Wiltshire, this was a very specific ground of my complaint, who is going to see this? And they cannot tell me. it seems clear from the discussions that Mr. Justice Knowles had with the College of Policing in court with Harry Miller that there is certainly a risk that they will be disclosed if you apply for a job where you are working with vulnerable people. So anything with children, anything caring for older people. It is apparently at the discretion of the chief constable whether or not they disclose it. So while I don't think it's automatic that it would come up on a DBS check, we have no guarantees, no reassurance, and that's not good enough. If I wanted to apply to be a judge, well, I think my chances are pretty much zero now, but presumably that would come up on such an application. And if my friendly anonymous Twitter account hadn't told me I'd been reported, I would not have known. So I think this is really serious. And all those people who are saying, well, it's just a recording on a police database, just get your heads out of the sand and think about what that means. The police are there to investigate crime. If this is shown to somebody on a DBS check, they will not see the word incident on this 12-page report. They will see the word hate. And remember, how it starts on the occurrence log for me is Sarah Phillamore, full name, full address, date of birth, work email, a barrister, comma, posting hate, full stop. So that's what a potential employer would see. Or say I've asked to be a trustee of a charity, which I have been asked to do several times. That's what they're going to see. So this isn't acceptable. And I think certainly on data protection grounds, this has got to succeed because there's no legitimate reason for recording this. And I say it's recorded on a false basis.
Well, obviously it's not me you need to agree, but I couldn't agree more. I think this whole thing is patently fucking ridiculous. And we're embracing ridiculous levels of authoritarianism now with this, with the thought crime. The changing of language, the whole thing over COVID. You're not even allowed to think outside the narrative. Never mind behave. You're not allowed to think outside of it anymore. The change is accelerating in people. It's terrifying. And, this really, I genuinely hope. I mean, I think you'll smash this first target. And then as it gets more traction, you'll smash the following ones you'll need to go to trial if it goes that far. Somebody needs something.
That's my hate dog trying to eat the cat. This is my little doggy who's now recorded for 6 years on Wiltshire police files. He's the dog who'll call me a Nazi for cheese. So yeah, he's in a complete at the moment. I'm sorry about that.
Don't apologise. So I mean, guys, you really need to think about this. That saying a dog's a Nazi for cheese could stop you getting your job. I mean, really think about that. Now, we said earlier, certain groups of people, the TRAs, people like that, there was at least one bit of good news. They came through someone that asked me not to link them directly to it, so I'll do it obliquely later on with a tweet. That a well-known litigant from the TRAs who has been abusing the system for quite some time, probably will sue me for saying that now, kind of got the comeuppance in court a little today. Now, I didn't understand all of it, but we're actually talking obviously about someone called Stephanie Hayden, who I believe is in the process of suing Graham Linehan for the second time, and has sued many other people. Now, you when we had a brief chat about this earlier on the Twitter, you did explain to you about some of the things the judge could be looking at and why this is kind of good news. Could you spell that? Just let me enjoy hearing someone explain it to me.
Well, I'm slightly wary because I don't know how much of this is legitimately in the public domain. I read quite a lengthy post published on the Kiwi Farms website about what happened in court yesterday. And it was about, it's in terms of somebody applying for an injunction. So I'm slightly wary, but it's clearly in the public domain now, isn't it? Because I've read it on a publicly available website. What I understand to be happening is finally judges in the High Court have woken up to the fact that here is somebody who repeatedly makes applications for injunctions and damages against people. And he does this for free, claiming poverty, and is thus fee exempt on his applications. And it does look as though there might be a little bit of criminal collusion going on. So I'm really pleased to read that. And I hope what I read was accurate, because what I think we've seen with Stephanie Hayden is a misuse of the court process for financial gain. So let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yes, because I believe Stephanie Hayden tried to get an injunction against people disclosing their past, which is checkered and of distinct interest. So apparently, I'm not going to say allegedly because I've had it corroborated by a couple of sources now, but apparently the judge has pretty much said you've not got a hope in hell of that happening, and it should be said in court what you've done. The judge wants to know how many people Stephanie Hayden's taken. It's got everything. And I think this is marvellous because Stephanie Hayden has made a lot of people's lives very, very difficult. Now, obviously...
I was just saying it's going to be part and parcel of this difficulty that a certain group of society have become literally untouchable. And we've seen exactly what happens. And this always happens. Whenever you give people that kind of power, they will misuse it. And that's what we're looking at now. So I really, really hope there's going to be some clarity now, and the court's going to look quite carefully about what's being done. Because remember, these court cases cost us, the taxpayer, a lot of money just to get a high court judge in a court for a day listening to this kind of nonsense. I mean, I'm all for rehabilitation of offenders. I quite understand the purpose behind that act. We shouldn't keep rubbing people's nose in their past. But when you're actually holding yourself out as some sort of vigilante for other people's failings, and I do think your record, your character becomes relevant. So I'll be watching this with great interest.
Oh, I think many of us will be watching this with great interest and tweeting ferociously should the opportunity arise if it goes through. It's just, I know that the worst thing, Stephanie Hayden blocked me about 2 years ago. Didn't even sue. I'm not even worth suing to Stephanie Hayden. Do you know how rejected I feel?
Oh, that's low. That's really low.
I feel so. Just blocked me. I mean, who was the one person that threatened to sue me, Graham? Was it that Mike?
Stutchbury.
Mike Stutchbury, yeah. He threatened to sue me, and I think I spoke to Sarah about that time, and I invited him to do so. Nothing happened. Because the anti-Semitic person who wrote the blog about him is a barrister, so he very carefully words everything he ever writes. I mean, don't get me wrong, the guy that wrote it is horrible, horrible man, but it was all perfectly legal. And Mike Stutchbury also failed to sue me. I just can't get sued. I'm clearly impervious. Also, it would be quite pointless unless you enjoy taking installments. In which case, fill your boots. I'll pay you a few quid a week for the rest of my life.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, a lot of people don't have very much money, but if you sue 20 people and they give you $1,000 to make you go away, well, there you go. That's a tidy.
And we've seen that far too often. I think didn't Graham Linehan paid off? Sorry, settled, and a couple of other people have. And we see the same thing with Yaniv over in Canada that tortures people. There's a horrific abuse going on right now by people who proclaim themselves to be the marginalised victims.
If you create an environment where these people can flourish, they will flourish. It's just like any other virus, and that's what we've done. For all these noble and misguided reasons, for diversity and inclusion, we've actually created a grifters charter in a very dangerous way, because they're claiming the moral high ground. And it's not just that you're standing up for your legal rights against them, but they are depriving you of all your fundamental human rights, your rights to speak, your right to challenge. I mean, I'm told I cannot say there's only two sexes, male and female. I'm told that is literal violence. I am encouraging the murder and the assault of trans people by saying so. I mean, that is what is said.
Did you see that company that's just started selling Harry Potter pajamas?
Oh, God. Yes.
I had to get on that because someone said your pajamas are killing trans kids. Some powerful pajamas.
They did some useless tweet about we support and love trans people. Look, you're a pajama selling company. I don't care what your views are on transitional sexuality. Sell pajamas.
Yeah.
You know, this is the state that we're in. Somebody complained in all seriousness and got them to apologise. I don't know if they got them to withdraw the stocks. Obviously, I'm sure the desire to make money is still quite powerful. But that's it. We've got this ridiculous kind of attempts at appeasement.
Must never apologise.
well, I don't know. You must never appease. I think you should be prepared to apologise if you've hurt somebody and got something wrong. But appeasement, every single lesson of history from the Danegeld to the Second World War shows us that appeasement is a fool's strategy, because appeasement is something you do to bullies.
Yes.
And all you do by appeasing them is give them more power. So enough. End of appeasement. I will apologise if I overstep the mark and I hurt people, but I will never appease you. And you are going to have to, I'm afraid, listen to what I say that is true. And because I think all of us are just utterly fed up with this by now.
I'm going to admit that does make you a better person than me. I won't even apologise.
I think you should. I don't think there's anything to be proud of in being somebody who won't ever admit they're wrong. I don't think that's something.
Oh no, if I am actually wrong, but as we know, that happens so rarely. It's impossible.
This whole thing is going to collapse. It has to. It is unsustainable. So I think our job is to hurry that up and limit the damage it's going to do when it collapses. That's what I see our role as.
To actually look after as well the transsexual people whose moral authority all these people are glomming off.
Yeah.
You know, because when you talk to people about trans, people think of people like Debbie Hayton and, you know, people getting on with their lives, trying to live the best life, not trying to stomp over everybody else. That's who jumps to mind. They don't realise it's the baseball bat wielding blue-haired person.
Yeah. My first encounter with a trans person was Caroline Cossey, because when did her book come out, Tula, about her transition, which must have been in the 80s. I was just a teenager. And I remember seeing pictures of her in the book. She was a Bond girl, I think, at one point, while she still had a penis, but looked like a beautiful woman. And I remember thinking, but of course, you know, she ought to be able to live her life as she wishes. How could anyone deny her that? And of course, her big beef was, as with a lot of transsexuals, that same-sex marriage was not allowed. So we've done all that. We've junked all those outdated, tired prejudice. But it's just so sad that what we've ushered in, instead of this glorious new age, we just ushered in an age of extreme hypocrisy and prejudice. It's so
but
sad.
Stonewall need to keep the money coming in.
Well, exactly.
So they have to ban them. But it is worth pointing out they're not getting it all their own way now, either with the new government legislation about outside parties being allowed to influence school. I believe we're at the beginning of something now. Not the destruction of those people, just the fact of everyone's got to have a place in society, and theirs cannot be at the cost of everybody else's.
I think we are at the end of the beginning. The fight isn't over, not by a long way. But I hope that conversations like this give more and more people courage, and that people who donate to my crowdfunder feel they can do it in their real name. I think the tide is turning. We've just got to speed up, because it's done so much harm and damage, especially to children. And that's what got me motivated to join this fight, is what was happening to children. You know, as young as 4, being encouraged to transition, and social workers saying it's not a safeguarding issue, any parent who resists is part of the problem. All of that just struck me with awful fear. And that was really before I began to read up about it and realise that my fears were well-founded. So I'm really looking forward to the judgment in Kira Bell's case, for example, that hopefully right before Christmas, because that's going to be huge and crucial. That, I hope, will be a massive nail in the coffin of this really harmful, destructive and dangerous ideology.
I think it has to be, you know, and it's just keeping going. When I'm asked, why do I talk about it so much, what's my interest? Well, partly is when I read about the kids there, even when you were talking about that, I get very, very angry. Also, I was seeing women being bullied for being women, which I didn't think we did anymore. You know, I thought we'd kind of chilled out on that. I'm disappointed. I've had my gammon years stolen from me. I should be a shocking sexist by now.
Well, I thought we were entering into a golden age of rationality. We got rid of the laws that criminalised homosexuality. We allowed gay people to marry, as of course we always should have done. I thought, hooray! My twilight years will be spent basking in the best that humanity has to offer. And it's like we're such a crap species. We immediately decided to do a U-turn and put pedal to metal.
Yeah, it's not good enough now. You got to let you got the basically blokes with beards and dresses into your spaces.
it's again, it's the resurgence, I'm afraid, of misogyny, which has clearly always been there, and I just didn't notice it while I was growing up. It was kind of hidden. I think about my mum. She couldn't even get a washing machine on hire purchase without my dad's signature. That was in 1973 when I was a toddler. And I was thinking, oh, well, haven't we come far? Isn't that great? Poor old mum. And we haven't really moved at all, have we?
I
This has
think
been
they found a far better way of doing it now.
It's been a
Because they get
marvelous
to the
opportunity
victim.
to rip the mask off.
They get to be the victim now. They get to do all that and
Yeah,
be the
and
hard done to one.
it's brilliant.
I'm getting angry again now. I'm getting angry again. Sarah, we're going to listen. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. I hope we get to do this again. I know I'll be chatting with you on Twitter anyway, but I hope we get to do this again on this topic and other topics. And remember, guys, the link's in the description for the Crowd Justice. If you can't afford to give, please share. Sharing will help just as much. And if you can, if you can stand tall without worrying too greatly, use your real name. Sarah, we'll keep mentioning the campaign and what you're doing.
Oh, thank you so much.
And just thank you so much for coming and having a chat with us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I look forward to doing it again.
Thank you very much for the platform. Just let me say good night from me and the hateful dog. This is Diego, the hate crime Nazi dog.
Oh,
Good night, everybody.
Good night. There we go, Sarah Phillamore joining us there to tell us about things that just get my blood pressure climbing. Graham was looking at me, especially during the kid bit. You could probably see the Phil Mitchell filling up. But yeah, it really is genuinely hugely important what she's fighting here. It's not just for her record. She has a career. She's going places. It's the fact that if no one stands, nothing will ever get done, and it will only get worse. It will not fix itself if nobody else stands up. And these guys are standing up with Harry and herself and others. Yes, Graham.
Yeah, I think it's important. Like I've got into when I'm talking to friends, and I'll say, these hate speech laws are ridiculous, and they will always come back with something like, well, you can't just bully people and harass them and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not the same thing. And it's really, really hard to explain to someone exactly why. And eventually I can do it, and it takes hours or whatever, and you get through to them. But I've got huge respect for people like Sarah, because they're actually doing the work that needs to be done. Because people have got jobs. They get on with their lives. You can't go around and convince 2 million people that hate speech laws. It just actually needs to be sorted out. We need to get rid of this back door where, ultimately, the way I always describe it is I can phone the police and report anyone. I can make anything up about anyone.
I've been making a list.
And they have to record it. They have to investigate it.
Look at what's happening up in Scotland.
Yeah. Oh,
With Humza's bizarre. I mean, nobody was supposed to read 1984 and go, it's an instructional manual. Fantastic.
Dude.
Hey, guys, report your parents. Can you imagine how many reports are coming? My wife's Scottish. Her family are from Glasgow, Gathamlock, Cambuslang. The police are going to be very busy. Very, very, very busy.
What happens? You sit there at the dinner table and say women don't have a penis, and it's like, fuck. That's it. Then your life could literally be over at that point.
You'd have to run away to England.
Boom, run away
to England.
Yeah, we're only 5 years behind them, though, aren't we? Ultimately.
Yeah, but as long as we got that fucking oaf in office, we're pretty much okay. Because he wouldn't be keen on one of those sort of laws either.
No.
But the fact is, we laugh and we joke about it, but this is dreadfully serious. We've been talking about the online side of things, where websites have been getting crushed by this right think, and the way they've amassed power to affect advertisers, and that's aided by social media. And social media are playing a massive part in this. If you look at Twitter, the uneven-handed treatment. If a woman insults a trans activist or misgenders one of them, they get banned. If the trans activist says, "Shut up, menstruator, I'd like to see you strangled," it's all right, because they've got problems. And that's rife on Twitter. Tumblr's just fucking, that's just vomit. That's unreal. But on Twitter, you'll see that again and again, and Facebook do it too. They protect the violent activists. They protect the paedophiles. They punish those who speak the truth. Not even being offensive, just the truth, because the truth is problematic. We've got a huge problem here, guys, and more people need to stand up. I'm kind of lucky. I can't advertise my web services or who my clients are because I like my clients too much to put them through that hell. But apart from that, there's not a lot they can do. I must do the request, though, Graham, to find out if I've got any lodged against me. You know, these non-crime hate incidents. I hope I have.
What the fuck happened to just being allowed to be wrong? You know, I don't get it. Say you do say something horrific. You know, I could give hundreds and hundreds of examples of my life of people saying things to me, and I walk away and I'm like, oh, that wasn't. I'm not comfortable with that. But I don't think they should lose the ability to work.
Well, punishment's important now because it's a power trip. It's addictive. Okay, if you and me had a Barney like we sometimes do.
Yeah,
we might get into a little bit of name calling.
You are wrong quite often.
I have never once been fucking wrong. Watch your filthy mouth. Watch your filthy mouth. But the fact is, we do that, and it's all right. I'll argue with Richie Allen. I'll say some things that, well, not offend him, like he won't have a fucking little cry, but things that go completely against his beliefs, and vice versa, and you crack on. And with strangers online, you don't have to be friends. You can fall out, carry on. But now the punishment matters. And not only should you be punished, they should be allowed to see it. And not only should they be allowed to see it, they should be allowed to be celebrated for making that happen to you. How much affirmation do they get from, I got a Nazi band? A Nazi? Usually a Nazi, by the way, on there is anybody you disagree with. It doesn't matter what their thoughts on Jews or Poland might be. Just that they disagree with you, they are a Nazi. And they'll celebrate. And you get a thing. I know it boils your piss as well. Hey, Twitter, do your thing.
Oh, yeah. It's just
do you know what happened last time someone said that about me? What? About 46 teenage wankers with blue hair started telling me I was ugly and sending me dick pics. I'm like, guys, this is not working.
Yeah, but it's ultimately, though, that it's saying ruin this person's life, but it's putting a nice little rainbow ribbon around it and going, do your thing, Twitter. Yeah.
Do your thing.
And
but do you remember what one said to me? Well, maybe this will make you think twice before posting that hate again. Oh, yes. I have definitely learned my lesson. My life is ruined by people writing words at me on a social media platform. It's insane. And you've seen the pile-ons I sometimes get. Hundreds of the fuckers.
Thing is, though, man, what if you're a teacher and you're going to go for another job?
Yeah, I'd be screwed.
And they search your name on social media, which is very, very common now.
Yeah.
And the top hit is a load of dickheads, and it's got 50 likes because they all brigaded you. So the top hit is people saying you're a fucking Nazi. Fuck you and you fucking hate, and that's the whole point. That's why they'll often use your full name in tweets so that you do come up on searches. Oh, yeah. You know, so it's like the world that me and you inhabit is very, very different to the one that the vast majority do.
Normal people,
yeah. So when we're laughing our tits off when they're going, oh, do you like it? We're just like that. But you know, what about people with real jobs, man? The amount of people we get in this studio that fucking love being here in real life.
But they can't go on camera.
Because but they can just talk. And they're not spewing hate, they're just chatting about the radiator being broke or whatever. But they love just relaxing and talking again.
Well, it was during the last Meet Space event, wasn't it, when we turned all the cameras off? We turned them off and said, right, guys, have at it. It wasn't a hate fest.
No.
But it was a room full of very relaxed, comfortable, happy people.
Sooty wrecked out of his face going on about his paint drying too slow and shit. That was one of the highlights of the night.
Yeah, that was where no one had the heart to explain to me it wasn't aliens that fucking did it, yeah. Or the government.
But it's true, but things are getting so restrictive now.
It's terrible. And you know what I've noticed? I don't have much of a profile on Twitter. But what I have noticed is the more people I end up following me, the more messages I get. Can you go and look at this? Because there's people that don't want to respond to some of these fucking monsters that are on there. And it makes me upset that they got to reach out to some bald dickhead who just screams on the internet all fucking day and go, can you have a look at that? And I have to waltz in, like just being horrible because it diverts it away. And reasonable people who are trying to have a conversation aren't allowed because they're not conversing in a manner that is acceptable to these fucking lunatics. And it drives me insane.
And they are. A lot of them are genuinely insane. They're
very disturbed. Nearly every one of them, in my opinion.
Yeah.
In my medical opinion.
Well, no, for someone to sit there and consciously gang up with a load of people and try to ruin someone's life and then move on having forgot about them. Just move on as if it's nothing. You are severely mentally ill.
Well, I just don't understand the mentality. It doesn't fit well with me at all. I tweeted recently, they'll break the fucking backs trying to get me to take a knee. All they can ever hope for is that I get banned. That's it. I will never come around to their way of thinking. In fact, it's impossible for me to come around to their way of thinking now because they're abusive, vile, threatening assholes. Every single last one of them. And the worst part is, and I feel bad about this occasionally, it makes me, or it encourages me to say things I know will hurt some of the genuine trans people that follow me that I talk to, but it still has to be said. I occasionally sort of message them going, look, I'm sorry. Like one intersex person got very cross with me because I informed a trans person that the open wound between their legs wasn't a vagina. And I got a long lecture about it not being an open wound. And of course, I had to inform this person, I don't really fucking care. I was just giving them back some of what they gave. And it's when people say to you, though, you're better than this. I'm not. I'm just an arsehole on the internet. I'm not anybody's fucking champion. I don't speak for anybody. That's another one they accuse you of, by the way. If you speak out at all, it means either you are a misogynist, you just want to fuck somebody, and that's usually about it. Like, why is it your business? I can speak about anything I want. And then they'll tell you to stay in your lane. It's another one that annoys me because, as Graham knows, I consider all lanes to belong to me equally. And I do not have any indicators. I drive a BMW. I'm a twat on the road as well. And I treat everything the same way. Everyone should have an opinion. If you don't want to hear me, block me. And don't do that sneaky fucking thing of unblocking just come and read something to outrage. Just block me. Move on. Go fuck yourself.
Steve's spilling the tea on the chat about you there.
Hayden made a trans person cry. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about that because we both know who that was. During my tenure in the office, I hired 2 trans people because they were amazingly well qualified for the job. One was male to female, one was female to male. The male to female trans person, you can't even say that really, can you? Because you can't go from one to the other. Anyway, you know what I mean. I can't be doing that bollocks. Very hormonal. And Stephen, who is a really nice guy who owns the business upstairs, was doing his best to communicate with people that weren't part of his usual social strata, and everything he said was just the wrong fucking thing, and there were tears and tantrums and tiaras and fucking all sorts. My favourite one ever was when there was some clothing stock. Do you remember this one, Graham?
Oh, yeah.
There was some clothing stock, and he was just trying to make conversation as usual. And he said, do you know what would be a good idea? Clothes for trans people. So it's like, Steve, they've already got clothes for trans people, mate. Women's clothes, usually big women's clothes, but women's clothes. And what I loved was watching him thinking, I can turn this one around. And it ended in tears. So I've told the truth there. And there we go. God, that was that was the first time I ever got banned from a trans group. It was that one on Facebook that took a quote, because in Live Leak,
I remember
refused to delete all videos that had trans people being harmed because I said, well, they're just people. So why should they be the people? And do you remember they quoted the quote and then misrepresented the quote underneath? And when I said, but you've quoted me, they just banned me. And I mentioned it to one of the trans people. And they went, well, yeah, that's how it should be. I thought, oh, fucking hell. And I think that was it. And the person that Pete trans me was Kirsty. Kirsty, who was the person that peaked Transby first on Twitter. But they've gone now on a hiatus because Kiwi Farms got hold of them. And they were saying, the Nazis are on to me. They got my address. The Nazis, the incels on Kiwi Farm. Really? It's just a load of fucking trolling shit posters.
Yeah, I got to say, it was really weird when Sarah just mentioned Kiwi Farms. I was like, oh, that's someone sort of well-to-do and educated going, yeah, so I was on Kiwi Farms.
Oh, but Kiwi Farms is quite delicious.
Yeah.
It is quite delicious.
I actually found it because of Stephanie Hayden. That was because that's constantly trending on
It's Moorish like Pringles. Yeah. It's great. Last Dance, Kiwi Farms. It's a website devoted to laughing at people that, for the most part, genuinely do deserve to be laughed at. And go check it out. I'm not going to endorse it or otherwise. Happy Dog says Hayden drives like a menopausal soccer mom, probably. Heather Bunskill Evans says a vaginoplasty is an open wound. This is biologically correct. Win! See, I told you I was never fucking wrong, Graham. I've just been told. And double-barreled surname, she knows her shit.
Okay, cool.
As soon as you see a double-barreled surname...
I love the way you're saying that as if I disagreed with you on that point. I didn't at all.
I'm playing to the room.
Yeah, of course.
I'm reading the room.
You always do this. You come in like, whoa, like it's a big mic drop, and it's like, okay, what? And the problem is,
these people that you disagree with.
Yeah, no, half of these fuckers fucking fall for it as well. They're sitting there going, oh yeah. And they get false memories of Graham, like, Graham must have disagreed with me on that. Fucking
Hayden, are you wearing eyeliner? No, of course I'm not wearing fucking eyeliner.
It's just beautiful.
That would be like putting perfume on a fucking pig. What are you talking? Eyeliner. Oh yeah, that'd work. A fucking charm for me, wouldn't it? Make all the difference. Would it bring out my eyes? Let's have a look. You and your mum, that's new. And hello, Mr. C. Hello. I've not said hello to a lot of people. Fat Belly, Sutties, we have Biscuit Vapes. Said hello to Last Dance earlier. Stephen, of course. James Smith. Hello, James Smith. And anyone else I might have missed. Am I wearing perfume? Just my natural musky scent. That sounds bad. That sounds really bad. I really enjoyed Sarah coming on the show today.
Yeah.
What did
I say? I got to say though, I'm severely disappointed in chat. This is a really, really important subject that more people need to be keeping an eye on, and the amount of horniness was unacceptable.
Oh, they're very thirsty.
Unacceptable. You do realise that the internet has a place for those sort of things, don't you?
What?
If they want to, they should get all that out of the system before we do the show.
Oh, well, they are very thirsty.
Coming in here.
I've noticed when we have a woman on the show.
Yeah.
They genuinely don't know how to interact. It's quite alarming.
I mean, I think half of them are right anyway, just on a normal one. But yeah, you all disappointed me there.
It's all right, because this will be gone when we re-upload it anyway, and it'll all be new. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Next week, we should be being joined in the studio. She was meant to be here tonight, but something came up, by Emma Kenny, who is a psychologist on TV programs like This Morning. Has been getting dogs abuse recently for questioning the lockdown narrative. So that's next week with Emma Kenny. The week after that, a guest, I'm not going to say who it is just yet, but a guest kind of confirmed today. We'll be firming that up in the coming days and weeks. But that's going to be fucking awesome. If that guest comes off, we're going to have a lot of fun there. It's someone you will enjoy. Many of you will enjoy already. So that'll be the week after. I don't know how long we're going to manage to keep getting guests on, but as long as we are, and I can find interesting, cool people to talk to, that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Because it's nice. It makes you feel good, doesn't it, having a chat? Instead of me just looking Graham in the eye and screaming. It makes a nice change. Gorgeous George, how you doing, fella? Hope you're well. And life's going good. And remember, Smoke Steve is hosting the International Pub Saturday, 11 p.m. UK time on YouTube. I'm getting that in now so he doesn't fucking whine at me for the whole last 10 minutes of the show. Go join our American Ginger Warrior and do some drinking, have a chat, talk about whatever you like. Saturday nights on this channel. And check it out. Don't forget also to like, subscribe, and touch us on our bell. still like saying that. Like, subscribe, bell. Do that and you won't miss any broadcasts or any of the other stuff we've got coming up. We've got Melanie Howard. Hello, Alan Reader. How you doing? Don't worry. You can rewind it and watch it. And you should, because it was a great interview with Sarah. So do get back and check that out. And let's look at Ursula Thorl says, did you know we should donate to help the impoverished? Boom, take that, Graham. I've got notes, spelled your name wrong as well.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know, I might have missed half of that.
Oh, we just mic dropping on things I've not said again. Aphid did that the other day. Actually, he came on the pub, and we were talking about Texas, and this is like a couple of weeks after I'd said Texas was a purple. I think you were on that stream actually. I was saying no, Texas will be an interesting thing, and everyone mocked me for it. And then Aphid jumped on the stream on a Saturday and just started going on about, oh no, Graham, you said it was red. I'm thinking, does no one remember anything that we actually talk about?
Nobody remembers anything that doesn't suit them.
Yeah, people project, don't they?
Of course they do.
Bless him. He's been going to town on Twitter, going on about someone called Joe Biden winning the election. He's trying to get out of that $20 he owes me, the disgusting fart.
How's Ron Paul doing?
I don't know.
Because he had the stroke on live, didn't he?
Yeah, I think his wibbly face has gone back to normal.
Well, that's all right. And that was alarming. I mean, I'm not a massive follower of him, but I watched that interview and my heart went out to him because that was the weird. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. It was
a look of utter confusion on his face. It was very alarming. I don't know why he popped into my head there. Probably talking about the states and politics. He just did that. Fire Sealman says, new to your show, Hayden, loving it. Emma Kenny would definitely bring me back next week. Brilliant. I'm going to be honest, they're only usually this good if there's a guest, and if it's just left up to me, it's just a tirade of abuse and stuff for about an hour. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you so much. Biscuit Vape said Joe Biden did win, all for it.
Bit weird. I didn't realise we had conspiracy theorists tuning in. Freak.
Ah, dear. And someone said I should interview them, so I've taken a note of the name. We'll have a look. I'll have a look. So there's a couple of other people to get hold of as well. The problem is you don't want your list getting too long because we only do one show a week, really. Can't afford to do more. Which is a nice segue into, by the way, if you would like to support Trigger Warning and all the sterling work that we do, please do go to patreon.com/triggerwarningtv. That's right, isn't it?
Yes, sir. There should be a link in the description.
It'll be in the description. Consider becoming a patron, even if it's just $1 a month, whatever. And if you can't, because times are hard, just keep watching. Sharing the link, that'll be cool as well. In fact, that'd mean the world to us since YouTube crushed our fucking reach about 18 months ago. That'd be brilliant. I heard back from YouTube, by the way, guys. You know how last September we got a permanent warning because I called Jessica Yaniv a fat nonce. And when I appealed it, I pointed out, but it was fair to call Jessica Yaniv a fat nonce because Jessica Yaniv is a fat nonce. They didn't agree, and we got a permanent warning and demonetized. I appealed in January, as was my right. I have just heard back from Team YouTube on Twitter that someone somewhere has reviewed the channel, and if we make the necessary changes, we can ask to be reviewed again in 3 weeks or 3 months. I'm not sure which it was. I don't know what the changes are they want us to make. They won't tell me. I don't know what to do. So I don't think we're ever going to be monetized again on YouTube because I don't know what to do apart from deleting everything, and I'm not feeling inclined to do that because then they'll take the monetization off us anyway for not having enough watch out. I don't understand these things, guys, but that's where we're up to with YouTube and the monetization anyway. If I just make some changes, everything might be all right, but I'm not privy to what those changes might actually be. That probably makes sense to to a lot of people. Let's have a look what else is going on. Someone's making Sally Gannon says he is a bit, though. I think when he's Jessica Yaniv, he's quite chunky and won't stop staring at the kiddies. If you mean Yaniv, don't just stare at him. Send some private messages and shit. Jessica Yaniv is a sex predator. I don't give a fuck if I get sued or demonetized or banned. It's a fact. I've seen the fucking videos. I've seen the messages. Jessica Yaniv's a fucking wrong 'un. There's going to be something bad at the end of that one. There's going to be something bad at the end of that line. Nothing good. The fez is actually on the skull, just over there. You can see it there. It's sat on top of the skull. I might break out the shouting hat next week. We'll have to see how we go with that. Let's have a look here. Who else we got? Happy Dog said, saw a vid today that says the CARES program in the US for the COVID relief that was passed in March this year, but it actually first went through Congress in January 2019. Talk about a plandemic. Plandemic. Possibly. The whole thing's messed up. How quick have they got this fucking vaccine? They started, what was it, first trials in March?
Yeah, middle of March.
Donald Trump was still calling it Kung Flu back then, wasn't he?
Probably still is, to be honest.
I hope so. Right, guys, we're about that time. What have I done with Thanos? He's over my other shoulder. You can't see him because we don't have a wide angle. But Thanos is back there. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Of course, thank you again to our wonderful guest, Sarah Phillamore. Do join us next week where we're going to hopefully have Emma Kenny live in the studio and probably ranting and moaning and screaming as well. Do remember to drop in and say hello to Smoke Steve on Saturday. You will have a good time. He's a great guy. He's a great host. You'll enjoy that. And let's say we'll be back next week. Until then, I guess just, go away, be happy, be safe, and don't get banned and shit. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.